Okay, hey everybody. This is the city of Battle Creek, and I'm Jessica Vanderkolk. I'm the communications manager here, and I am here with Lizzie Paul, and she's our environmental program coordinator. And we are here to talk to you about recycling. So hopefully you can hear us. Comment if there are volume issues. I can't guarantee we can fix them, but we'll do our best. And I am going to have our page up. So if you have questions as we go along, please ask them. We'll get through as many as we can today. And if you leave more questions, we will get answers for those and follow up with you. So we are going to start with an introduction of the program. Probably a lot of you know that we are going to every other week curbside recycling pickup. That's going to start the week of May 6th. And background point and why we've made this switch. So Lizzie's going to explain that for us.
Okay, so the easiest way to explain it's a very complex issue, but essentially America was exporting about 1/3 of our recyclable material to China. So China was taking in a ton of material and they were processing that and then reusing it for themselves. They started to receive a large quantity of invaluable material, things that like wet cardboard or plastic that still had food residue in it, things like that. These things are known as contamination, so you'll hear that word a lot in the recycling community right now. It's kind of a buzzword. So this contamination became a problem for China because when they were getting this material in and figuring out that a lot of this is actually trash, they then had to pay to sort that trash out, bring it to the landfill, pay those tipping fees at the landfill, and their landfills started to fill up. So they essentially became a wasteland. So because of this, China implemented the National Sword Policy or the Green Fence Policy, basically stating that they're not going to be accepting any more material with contamination levels higher than 0.5%, which is essentially impossible for us to achieve because the materials recovery facilities that our material here in America goes to, they're equipped with technology that keeps contamination levels between about 2 and 5%. So even though that's a low level, it's still not that 0.5%. So sending our material to China is no longer really an option for us. So while we're trying to domesticate a lot of that material and a lot of that processing, it's causing kind of chaos in the recycling world. There's rates are increasing for a lot of communities. Some communities have done away with their programs altogether. So Waste Management in Battle Creek, over the past couple months, we've had several meetings and we've come up with this solution to be able to still offer this service, but to also keep rates level for our residents. So instead of increasing rates and keeping a weekly service, we decided that it would be best to lessen the frequency of the service and keep those rates level for residents. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got for that question.
Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about what's happening now. Some of you may have seen that we released the map today that goes with the schedule, the calendar schedule. So I want to show you what we've got happening to help you figure out when your recycling is going to be picked up. Those of you who've received your April water bills, you already should have this brochure. And we know April water bills are still going out. So if yours has not come yet, you should be receiving it. This gives a lot of recycling tips, information, the city, county, and waste management websites where you can find a lot of recycling information. And also, it has this calendar with the green and yellow weeks. We've talked a lot about green and yellow. So this starts on May 6th, and that week is a green week. So what happens is when you go to the map on our website, you go to battlecreekmi.gov, at the bottom of our homepage is a link to the recycling map. This was added to our trash map that we had already. So what you do is enter your address and it will pin you on the map. So it will show you your pickup day, and that's not changing. And it will also show you whether you are green or yellow recycling. It'll show it for your area of the map. When you click the shaded part, the calendar will pop up again, so you can interact with that while you're actually on the map. and then it will show you your green or yellow weeks. So if your address pops up green, you will start the week of May 6th on your regular trash day. So if you are a Monday pickup, you'll put your recycling out on May 6th. If you are yellow, you'll start the week of May 13th. So if you're Monday yellow, you would put your recycling out on May 13th and then follow the calendar every other week from there. That's the map. We did get some questions ahead of time. So do you want to go through
do you want to
what some of those were?
The postcards that are going out?
Oh, the postcards, yes, thank you. The other thing we want to do to try to help make this as easy for everybody as possible, now that we've got the map and the weeks figured out, we are going to be hopefully in the next week or so, next week and a half, we'll be sending postcards to all the homes in the city who are residential customers, and it will be green or yellow, and it will tell you whether you are a green or yellow week based on your address. So it will tell you then if you are green weeks, you will put your recycling out on your regular pickup day starting May 6th to 10th. So you would put yours out that week. And if you get the yellow postcard that tells you are yellow weeks, then you would put yours out for the first time May 13th to 17th. So look for those. We want to try to make this easier for everybody so you can put that on your fridge with the calendar and be able to follow along as we go through the rest of the year. Okay, so somebody is asking for big families, and we've gotten this question a few times, talking about getting an extra recycle bin or getting stickers to put on their own containers for recycling. So can you talk about some of the options if you fill your bin a lot, and we know some people do.
Right, and we've had a lot of people concerned that, the every other week is not going to be enough for them. So we have several additional options, thankfully, in Calhoun County that are open for most county residents. So first, we have the drop-off centers. There is a waste management drop-off center in Springfield, and there's also drop-off centers in Marshall and Albion as well. Information for these, you can find the dates, the times that they're open, all the accepted material that they'll take. If you go to www.battlecreekmi.gov/recycling and scroll down to the recycling drop-off centers, it's near the end of the page. There will be information on, the location, the address, dates, times, and materials. So that's always an option for people. That's also an option for people who live in apartment complexes. I use the drop-off center every week because I don't have curbside recycling at my place. So it's actually a really great option. And I know that Waste Management is actually working on some updates to their specific drop-off center, regarding signage and exactly listing what goes in each bin and all that stuff. So it should be a super easy thing for people to use. The other option is for residents to contact Waste Management and add an additional cart to their monthly bill, which I believe starts at $3.25 a month. So if you're interested in adding a cart, you can contact Waste Management at 866-797-9018. And they will be able to walk you through how you can add a cart onto your bill. And another option I've heard some people talking about, which I thought was kind of cool, was to just start communicating with your neighbors. If you know that maybe one of your neighbors never sets out their recycling bin, ask if you can put your items in there, and just kind of build that community with your neighbors and come up with a solution. Those are really the options we have right now for additional options, I guess, for disposal.
So we had a question previously about, some of you may remember when we had the small orange box containers for recycling, and it sounds like some folks still have those and wondered if they can use those in addition to the carts.
So unfortunately, you cannot use the orange bins because the recycling trucks that Waste Management uses, they're automatic trucks, and that's mainly for worker safety. So these trucks are programmed to, identify and pick up a large bin, the 96-gallon carts that you get. So it would not be able to properly or responsibly handle the smaller bins. So unfortunately, that's not an option.
and someone had asked us, they have put cardboard boxes next to the recycling cart and wondered why the trucks don't take those.
So that's the exact same answer, just because the trucks are programmed to only handle the 96-gallon carts. So any type of cardboard box should be flattened and then placed in your bin, and the cart will pick it up, or the truck will pick up the cart.
Okay. We've had a question about the number one recycling no-no that has been most detrimental to our program.
Okay. Well, the reason that this all is happening is because of contamination, but that's a really complex issue. So I'll try to break it down simply, but contamination is essentially putting anything in your recycling bin that actually cannot be recycled. And that can be anything from, that could be a plastic bag, that could be a cell phone, anything that cannot be recycled curbside. So it's important to note that pretty much every material in the world can be recycled, but only certain materials are accepted curbside. So that's like your glass, your plastics, your cardboard, paper, things, your metals, things like that. Those can be handled at the MRF facilities that I mentioned earlier. And then things like computers or plastic bags, those can also be recycled, but those have to go to a different MRF. So there's a different sequence of, there's a different process that gets those items recycled, and that does not include your curbside bin. So knowing exactly what is accepted in your curbside program is probably the most important thing. I would say in Battle Creek specifically, one of the biggest contaminants we get is plastic bags. People either putting their plastic grocery bags in recycling thinking that they can be, recycled curbside, which makes sense, but those plastic bags from like Meijer and Target, those things should go back to the store. Typically Meijer, I know, has kiosks that you can drop them off at right when you walk in, and that, like I said, those bags are brought to a facility that's equipped to handle them. So keep plastic bags out of your recycling, whether that's grocery bags. A lot of the time I see people bagging their recyclables, so they'll have valuable material, but it's contained in a plastic garbage bag. Like they'll have their cardboard boxes and their soup cans in there. But that's a plastic bag. So keep all of your items loose, keep plastic bags out of recycling, and then just make sure that you're rinsing out anything. So if you are going to recycle your soup cans, make sure you rinse that out and let it dry and then put it in your bin. So anything that's wet or dirty or a plastic bag should stay out of your bin. So just really knowing exactly what's accepted. And that brochure does a really nice job at explaining what can be taken in Battle Creek. So.
Right, and this, the image that you see on the inside, that is also in full-size form on the website as well. But it goes through what you can recycle, shows the pictures of those things so you can see that, different colored glass is okay. And then it gives the information about what not to include, the food waste, the plastic bags, the styrofoam, things like that. And then they have, Waste Management has provided us with a list of the common things that Lizzie's listed off, a lot of those that sometimes people think can go in the bins, but they cannot. And another thing to note too would be, if you use the drop-off centers, don't put your things in plastic bags there either. You want to make sure you empty those out. We know sometimes you collect recyclables in garbage bags, and maybe that's how you get them to the facility, but make sure you empty the bags out so that it's just the recyclable items that get into the bins.
Yeah, keep everything loose for sure.
Right. And then we've also had some questions about concerns people have about our wanting them to recycle less because we've reduced the service.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we've had a lot of people say that this, reducing the frequency of the service is going to discourage people from recycling. My response to that is that this is going to really depend entirely on somebody's values. So if recycling is important to them, we've listed several opportunities for them to be able to recycle outside of their every other weekly service. And that really just, again, that depends on, how important is it to a person. Is it worth the drive out to the drop-off center every week for them? That's, it's hard to say if it's going to discourage people from recycling. I do understand where it's coming from, but I think that I like to look at this more of an opportunity to educate residents on how to recycle properly. So in Battle Creek alone, we've just received the numbers from Waste Management that 25% of the material that Waste Management's recycling trucks pick up is actually contamination, or it's actually trash. So when people are saying that their bins are full every week, I really encourage them to do a waste audit at home and actually go through your bin, see what you're putting in there on a weekly basis, and really take note of what actually should be in there and what could be removed to save you space. So, you know, get your kids involved in it. It could be a fun educational activity. Just look at what you're using, and then along with doing that and taking note of those items that maybe should go in the trash bin instead, notice what commodities you're using a lot of. Do you drink a lot of plastic water bottles, and could you maybe switch to a reusable water bottle? Things like that. Just making these small individual changes. That's, you know, that's a good way to lower the amount of waste you're producing all around. So yeah, in my opinion, I guess to wrap that up, I think that the every other weekly service is going to encourage residents to kind of slow down and think about what they're putting in their bin instead of mindlessly throwing, you know, items in there that shouldn't be in there. So I think it's an opportunity.
Great. We had a question come up about what can be done with paint.
Okay. Latex or...
I would talk about both.
Okay, so latex, yeah, that's a good idea, because we do get a lot of people that aren't sure what to do with latex-based paint. So latex paint is not a hazardous material, but which means it can just go in your trash bin, but it needs to be dried out first. So a lot of people will use kitty litter, I think is the big thing that people will put in the paint to dry it out. Once it's completely dried out, that can go in your garbage bin. So again, that's just for latex paint. Any lead-based paint, that should be brought to one of our household hazardous waste collections. And the event dates for those can all be found on www.calhouncountyrecycling.com. If you click on the events tab, there's several of them throughout the summer, so you're able to bring your paint there. But latex paint, just dry it out and put it in the trash.
I was just going to look up those dates.
Yeah,
so that
I didn't
people
pull
can
the...
hear that. It has passed, but keep in mind too, when we do the big Recycle-Rama event in the spring, you can bring the non-latex paint to that event as well. We just had that April 6th. So the household hazardous dates for this year, and again, they are on the website as Lizzie described. The first one's coming up. It's Saturday, May 4th. It's from 10 to noon, and that's at the county building in Marshall. The second one is June 1st, also from 10 to noon, and that one's going to be at the Toller building, and that is the building on East Michigan Avenue across from Fire Station 1. And then the last one will be on September 28th, and that one will be back at the county building, again from 10 to noon. So those are the opportunities. Okay. The next one we have, someone would like to know if food containers and jars are not rinsed out. I think it says, can you use them, or is that part of the 25% rejected? Do you know if they're not rinsed out, would they still be included in the recyclable materials when they go to the facility?
Okay, so does it say plastic or plastic and glass or any?
Just food containers.
Okay,
generally.
so for now, yeah, anytime you're using a food container or anything that was holding any type of liquid, you have to make sure that those are rinsed out to the best of your ability. You don't need to use like soap and water or anything like that, but just rinse it out as best you can. Try to get all of that food residue out and then dry it out and then put it in your bin, because if something like that goes in your bin and it's wet still and it gets your cardboard wet, that cardboard's contaminated, no longer valuable, goes to the landfill. So yeah, then that's, yeah, I guess I would just say, yeah, you just need to make sure that they're completely dried before, you know, cleaned and dried before you put them in the bin. So I hope that clears it up.
And someone is asking a question about old electronics, basically.
Sure. Printers,
DVD players, things like that. If people can trash them or find another place to dispose of them.
Yeah, so I would definitely encourage you to find an alternative option besides putting it in the landfill. the county does offer events, like we just had Recycle Rama, where we partner with a vendor who takes all the electronics that people bring. They'll pretty much take any type and they bring it back to their facility and they process it properly and responsibly. So it also depends on the electronic that you have. I guess mainly I would just try your best to keep it out of the landfill. I know Waste Management does offer pickup for appliances and electronics like that. So if you go to their website, which can be found, all this information can be found on home.wm.com/battle-creek. They do electronic and appliance pickup. I know stores like Best Buy, they will not buy electronics from you, but you can bring your electronics there. I think there is a fee to drop them off, but they'll also dispose of them responsibly for you. So,
and I would note too, in terms of electronics, the city and county do have another electronics pickup this year. We combine electronics and styrofoam, so you can bring both of those things. And that one's going to be August 24th, and that one's at the city's Department of Public Works building on Kendall Street.
Right.
So that'll be from 9 to 1, so you can mark your calendar for that one and bring all of your electronic items to that.
Yep.
Oh, this is another option. Someone offered the comment too that sometimes schools like old computers for students to learn with. And she says to learn how to tear apart, so that could be the career center and things like that. So you can always check with your school district if you have old computer equipment.
That's a really good idea. And along with that, there's a really great website. I think it's earth911.org. It might be .com, but that's a really great resource to use. And you can type in specialty materials, so things that like electronics or just something odd that you wouldn't be able to recycle curbside. You literally type in the item name and then you type in your zip code, and it does its best. It pulls up as much information as it can on where you can dispose of that in a relatively close location to you. So that's a really nice website to have. And I think we listed that on the recycling page for the city. I think we did.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
And I'm sharing some of in the live feed as people are watching, I'm sharing some of these links that Lizzie's referencing, so you can click right through to them and get the information on the events that we're talking about, and the additional information about recycling. Okay, so we don't have any more live ones coming in right now. We've got about 7 minutes of the feed left that we were planning. Are there other frequent questions you are getting by phone right now? Anything that you would want to share or talk about?
Oh, should we talk about the customer service, the online forms and that type of thing?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
Okay, so Jessica and I and the utility billing department for the city, we get a lot of phone calls from residents that we need to either report a missed pickup or just any type of problem they might have had with waste management. So we get those phone calls, and there's actually a more direct and more preferred way for residents to handle those things. So there is a waste management website, like I mentioned earlier, the home.wm.com/battle-creek, and you can actually go on that website and submit these problems you're having online. So you can actually fill out you can report a missed pickup, or you can request an additional container, and you do that online, and that kind of takes out the middleman. So Jessica and I basically play the middleman when people call us. So we write down the information we need, and then we get it out to waste management. But if you do these things online, or if you use their phone number, they have a pretty good protocol on how they take care of these things, and they can get it done a little bit more efficiently without the middleman. So again, if you do need to report a missed pickup, or you need to request an additional cart, what other, I can't think of, I think missed pickup and additional carts are usually the two main calls that I get. So those can be handled online, doing an online form, or you can call that phone number I mentioned earlier, which is 866-797-9018. It is important to note that if you're going to use the phone number, you'll be prompted to provide an account number in the beginning, so they'll answer and ask you to provide your account number. But residents in the city, you don't have your individual account numbers. So if you just wait a few moments, it will move past that, and then it'll give you a menu where you can choose whatever option you need to get your service fulfilled.
Yes. And a couple of the other ones, you can also fill out a form if you need a container repair or replacement, and that is specifically for waste management containers. That's not for containers that you've purchased yourself. So you can also do that online. And the City of Battle Creek has unlimited trash service, for example, so you can always put things out to be collected. There is also a form on that website for a bulk pickup if you've just completed a project or something and you've got a lot of stuff right away, and you can schedule that with waste management too. Mm-hmm. So that's just another one of the forms that you can use.
Yeah, so it's super convenient. You can do it right from your phone even, if you notice your pickup was missed or whatever. It just makes it a lot easier, and it makes it more efficient on their end too, because they're getting that information directly instead of us emailing the wrong person. So
right. So as we wrap up the Q&A today, thank you to everyone who has watched and asked questions, and I hope that it's been helpful to you. If you come up with additional questions later, just come back to this, or let us know. You're on Facebook right now, so you can let us know through Facebook, or give Waste Management's service number a call. I've added that in the comments as well, so you can have it. Mm-hmm. Just to go over real quick again what we talked about at the beginning about the program, you are going to get the Waste Management and City Recycling brochure in your April water bill if you haven't gotten it already. And in there is the calendar for the every other week service, the green weeks and the yellow weeks. And the way you determine which week you are is to go onto our website. We have an interactive map there where you can find your pickup day. If you're new to the city, for example, or if you're looking for your recycle day, just put in your address. When it pins you, you'll see if you're in a yellow area or a green area, and that matches up to your green weeks or yellow weeks on the calendar. And then we'll also be sending postcards to all the homes within the city, and that will indicate whether you are a green week or a yellow week, and it'll give you the week that you will start putting out your recycling for the new program. Again, that starts the week of May 6th. So May 6th through 10 is the first green week. So if you're green, you'll put your recycling out on your regular service day that week. The first yellow week is May 13th to 17th. So if you look up your address and you're in the yellow, you'll put it out on your regular service day on that week.
Yeah.
Anything else? Did we miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.